Alright, I just uploaded the newest video since uh 3 days ago I did wow, that's a horrible dislike ratio. But since I did a double video upload 3 days ago, I guess I'll do a double video upload today. But I just wanted to talk about one of the worst. I can't do that. Hopefully I didn't leak anything from the page. I wanted to show you one of the worst, most egregiously horrific uh, Nintendo grifters. So Nintendeen. So this guy, this Nintendo fan, if you can even call him that, and he literally has Nintendo in his username, hates Nintendo. He fucking hates Nintendo. This guy will not stop talking about Nintendo. This guy is like Moist Critical on fucking crack. Like Moist Critical may hate Nintendo, but at least Moist Critical doesn't even play Nintendo games. So at least there's some justification with that. This motherfucker, he's got a Wario profile picture. His name's Nintendeen. And he's making video. I guess gaming is not cheaper than today. Or like Nintendo fanboy struggling against a valid Nintendo Switch 2 crisis. Like this guy is a fucking grifter. Okay, let's watch this video. I haven't seen this video, but I think this is a good exercise to
What's up, everybody? This is
debunk some of the retarded fucking Nintendo arguments. So let's hear this guy out while he plays the Nintendo game. This is probably Super Mario 3D All Stars version too. So let's watch this Nintendo fan play a Nintendo game on a Nintendo console, and yeah.
gonna be another opinion-based episode similar to the one from last night, where you can just kind of listen to it without necessarily worrying about what's showing up on the screen. So feel free to kind of just throw ahead.
This is the Switch version. Are you kidding me? The worst
Types of games, I prefer those always. But
This is literally this Nintendo Switch version. One of the biggest grift things that Nintendo has ever done. This game. And he is playing it in a video criticizing Nintendo. Like, okay, at least, okay, in some of his videos, I think he was playing Astro World. Like, I support that. If you're playing this game, the one of the worst things that Nintendo has ever put out in terms of greed, you cannot have an opinion on Nintendo. You are a hypocrite because you're playing Mario 3D All Stars. Not terrible deal. I mean, it's a great deal. $60 for 3 games. It's a great deal. But a cash grab. None of the remasters were very in depth. And are you kidding me, bro? Okay, but let's just keep going.
objectively, the tech behind it should.
I actually skipped through it. I threw my headphones, but let's see.
Ultimately, that's what this all comes down to. All of this talk of negativity, grifters, haters. What I found very peculiar throughout this entire experience is that, at least where I'm sitting, all I really want from Nintendo is to not rip us off, right? I've wanted them to treat us
So this game you're playing right now is a fucking rip.
better when it
You absolutely fucking done it. This game you're playing right now is the like one of the most shameless things Nintendo has ever put out. This game, and you were playing it. You were playing it. This game itself is a ripoff.
comes to milking us, releases, drip feeding, bricking, banning, actual ownership, game key cards, hardware quality, legal rights, the simple ability to use their stuff in charity events, make back on for months now. Because I don't think the average white knight for the Nintendo Switch 2 disagrees with any of my talking points.
No,
I think
he's
they would
right.
gladly enjoy and be
He's
in
right.
support of lower prices. I think they
Yeah,
would welcome better consumer treatment from Nintendo with
yeah,
open arms. But
definitely.
it is peculiar to see how much they're against those things, and after so much time being involved in
What? What did he just contradict himself? It is peculiar that they seem to be against those things. Are you talking about Nintendo or are you talking about us?
this conversation, I'm sort of starting to pinpoint what their reasoning is. And obviously, this is not going to apply to every single person out there. This is largely based off of the conversations that I've observed, the things that have been said to me, and the majority of the talking points that I've seen come up ever since the launch of the Switch 2. And to be clear, I'm not talking about other YouTube channels and what they've said. Influencers are gonna do whatever they have to do in order for their channel to succeed. I've given my case and my defenses as to why I'm not simply just churning out these videos for the sake of my channel's growth or monetary.
Yeah, obviously, I don't want to sit here and just watch this video, but yeah, obviously, I'm not on the same page as those fucking like. Let's see, what's his name? Um, It's a really annoying ass Nintendo Shorts YouTuber. What's his name? Um, it's not Demeech. Demeech is a fucking retard. But I can't remember what his name is. Nintendo Shorts. He's like the most popular one at this point. This guy, and Swizzle. I don't like him at all. This is like the biggest the Nintendo. This is the biggest Nintendo fanboy, by the way. M Sizzle. Um,
How many Nintendo Switch?
he is annoying as shit. Like, and he is like fucking. He's not against anti-consumer bullshit. He's like the biggest Nintendo fan there is. I mean, he's gonna fucking defend Nintendo to the last edge. And I'm trying to say, this is not me. I am nothing like M Swizzle. I'm not gonna defend Nintendo to the teeth like he does. Okay, I'm not like Wolf Den or whatever beat 'em ups. I'm not that guy. Okay, but I recommend you buy the Switch 2, not because it's a great deal or anything, but because you're gonna regret it when the prices go up. Okay, but let's go back to Nintendo.
Gain. And at the end of the day, it's up to you guys to do what you want with that information. But at the end of the day, because I'm a YouTuber and because I'm a content creator, I'm always going to be shrugged off by those that disagree with me, and likewise,
So
the other content creators that are trying to unsuccessfully white knight for Nintendo, likewise, they're going to be shrugged off by the majority of the Nintendo fandom because the majority of the Nintendo fandom is very upset with Nintendo's practices.
So I don't know what majority means, but your ass has 34,000 subscribers. That doesn't sound like majority. And last time I checked, uh, M Swizzle has 2 million. So here's your white knight. Here's your white knight that loves Nintendo. Every single thumbnail right here that I see is a Switch 2. 2 million. And that's more than the Wii U sold. Like it's not, but like it feels like it. The Switch 2 has sold 11 million, and you're at what 34? The fandom. What is the fandom? Do you mean like people that are into this shit? Because I guess I would agree, but it's definitely not a majority. I think it's a very very loud minority.
Right now. So I'm mostly focusing on people that don't have anything to gain from this. Not money, not clout, nothing. It's just pure passion. You're online, you're arguing against a content creator, you're coming to my channel and you're arguing against me. You're going on to forums and posts online and you're arguing against somebody else or banning people or whatever it is. Those are the individuals that I've been most interested in understanding. So I'd say there are basically two comments that I have seen come up the most when it comes to all of this discussion, and they're very related to one another. Since the very beginning, I've frequently seen a similar comment repeated over and over again. The white knights of Nintendo, the corporate apologists, whatever you want to call them, are almost always indicating that they don't necessarily disagree with my point of view and they don't disagree with my thoughts. They just don't like that I explicitly go after Nintendo, right? In their minds, they think that the fact that I'm going after Nintendo is a clear sign that
So yes, he is right. We don't like that he's specifically going after Nintendo, but that's not. I don't think that's what the White Knights are trying to say. At least in my opinion, I'm trying to say I don't like how you're going after uh games development Nintendo. I don't like how you're going after the people that developed and created the Switch 2. Go after legal Nintendo. Go after corporate Nintendo all you want. That's a different subsidy because Nintendo is not just one guy. It's a giant corporation, a giant multi-billion-dollar corporation. So Nintendo uh, functions separately from Nintendo. It's like Samsung functions separately from Samsung, like the Samsung that makes RAM, or like Sony, the electronics department functions separately from Sony that makes the PlayStation. But anyway,
I'm only doing this for clout and fame and money, or whatever the reasoning is. And again, I don't care to defend myself right now. I've done that plenty of times already. But what I'm more interested in understanding is if they agree with the points I'm making towards the prices, the drip feeding, and all the other bullcrap that's coming from Nintendo, why are they so tied to the idea that Nintendo is being used here as the primary target of this backlash of the gaming community? Right, like, logic indicates here that if I decided to go rob
so my problem, again, I just stated, is the fact that you're going after games Nintendo, not legal Nintendo. You're saying Nintendo. That's not Nintendo. Isn't one guy. Okay, but Doug Bowser's one guy. Go after Doug Bowser. Go after the president of Nintendo in Japan. That guy's a greedy piece of shit. But you can't go after Nintendo like all of it. Like you really think this wasn't even developed? Like at least the remaster wasn't even developed by Nintendo. Yeah. 2 out of the 3 of these games were not. These are all the Switch 2 games I have, by the way. Besides Mario Kart World, which is on the console. 2 out of the 3 of these games were not developed by in-house Nintendo. So if you buy Metroid Prime 4, of course Nintendo's going to get a profit from that. But if you buy this, you're not like directly supporting Nintendo. You're just supporting Retro Studios if you buy this. If you buy this game, I'm sure HAL Laboratories makes a lot more profit than Retro Studios does on this. But I'm pretty sure HAL probably makes a lot more. So if you were to buy this, even though this is an overpriced piece of shit game, like $80 for what is essentially like a couple more levels is ass. I only bought it because it's a Switch 2 edition, and I didn't have this game already. But if you were to buy this, how much money do you think Nintendo's going to make on this? Because they didn't even make this game. This is a HAL Laboratories game. This is second party. Um, if you were to buy Donkey Kong Bonanza, however, you would be funneling money directly into their pockets. And if you were to buy
Backlash of the gaming community,
this
right? Like,
game, if you were to buy this game, you are giving Nintendo a hand job when you buy this game, because I'm sure whatever third party developer only got paid like the wage for this game, and that's it. Like you are literally because if he's obviously purchased it, he's playing it, unless he's like pirated it, which was good on you, I guess, for sticking to your morals. But yeah, like you were such a hypocrite because you bought this. You bought this fucking remaster. One of the worst remasters Nintendo's ever made. Like, I can't believe this motherfucker. But anyway.
logic indicates here that if I decided to go rah-rah against Xbox or PlayStation and make the exact same types of videos and points and arguments, right? Because what Nintendo's doing, let's be real,
Nobody comes to their defense. That's not what he gets a shit about Xbox. It's actually crazy. It's actually crazy because why are Nintendo fans so passionate? Why are they so passionate? And why aren't Xbox fans passionate about Xbox? And I really can't tell you. I think it's just because Xbox fans are miserable, just like Nintendeen. That's why.
most of it overlaps with what the greater gaming community has done. So if my channel was called Xbox Dean or Sony Dean, and I was making the exact same videos with some tweaks here and there, seemingly they would be very much in support of what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and they would actually encourage me to do it more.
Because
By the
they're
looks
just
of
as
things, that's
miserable as
kind
you,
of what they're
Nintendeen.
implying in their statement. They just don't want Nintendo to be the target here. I found this kind of odd, but it's a clear indication of blind fanboyism, tribalism, if you will, even. The idea
Very
is that
true.
they've committed their time and effort and passion and life and nostalgia towards this.
So he brought up a really good point. Nintendo tribalism. And I think this is why we can't have nice things. This is why we can't own the Switch 2, okay? This is why Nintendo's saying we're renting it. We're renting the license to own it. Okay? And it's because um tribalism and people care. People are so fucking passionate about this shit, okay? People are really goddamn passionate about Nintendo. When Nintendo releases a game like this, a lazy piece of shit remaster, um, they care, okay? Because what do you think a Nintendo fan wanted when you heard, or when you heard the leaks that Nintendo was remastering Mario 64? What do you think when a Nintendo fan hears that? What do you think they want? They want something like this. They want something like this. They want a game on the level of this, but instead we got this. This is an amazing game. I do not care what you fucking say. This is an amazing. This is better. This this is better than this. I'm just gonna be honest. This is better than this, and because um, it's not just because of the gimmicks. It's not because there's just more characters. It's just because it looks better. I think it runs better too. It doesn't sound better, but it looks better. And there's more stars, obviously. There's mini games. There's multiplayer. There's I guess you just throw in the multiple player characters. That's really fun. D-pad controls. That's what people hate. But we're getting off topic. But I love this game. But this is what they were expecting. not the game that he's currently playing. And when Nintendo releases something like this, we care. And 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 that's not to say that I'm not critical of Nintendo. I am, but I'm also a glazer because I love Nintendo. And the tribalism comes in because Xbox, Sony, Xbox and Sony do not give a shit about their fans. Like, not even a little bit. Like, sure, Nintendo doesn't give a shit about their fans either, but Xbox Ultra doesn't give a shit about their fans. Xbox Ultra does not care. Sony Ultra does not give it. Sony is strictly anti-consumer. Xbox is horrendously anti-consumer, and like nobody brings that shit up. And it's because of Nintendo tribalism. It's literally because Nintendo or Nintendeen himself is in that fucking tribe, and it's because he's passionate about Nintendo. He's passionate about this bullshit, just like I am. And if you're passionate enough, you're gonna start making videos like this. Um, but being passionate about Nintendo has its limits. I mean, it comes to a point where you're either just mindlessly glazing, like M Swizzle, or you're a Nintendee and you're mindlessly criticizing because you're a miserable fucking depressed loser. Um, who probably makes like $30 a day from these videos. So I think let's just play the video because I have nothing else to say.
A single company, and for them, for one reason or another, they don't want people to hate on it as much because they're so tied to it. This may be because they've
Just like you.
invested a lot of time and money and passion towards it, and maybe they have a hard time coming to terms that they're supporting something that's
Like
so
you
ugly,
invested in
or it
this.
could have nothing to do with the monetary angle of things, and they're just very passionate about the company because of memories they had when they were a child, for example. There's a big sentiment and attachment to the company that's a little weird. Now, I am mostly leading
A little weird. Okay, Nintendeen playing a Nintendo game on his Nintendo channel, criticizing Nintendo playing the most greedy cash grab I've ever seen.
towards that attachment in the weird side of things. I'm using weird because I don't know what word to use here. A very big part of the reason I say that is because I think all of us are a little weird when it comes to Nintendo, right? The reason I am so
Thank you for
strong and
being
adamant to fight back against
Thank you for being self-aware, Nintendeen. I thought you were going off the deep end a little bit.
Nintendo is because that's the company that I'm most passionate about. And likewise, my viewers have the same type of bond and connection to this company because of all the memories they have with it as well. Most of you, at least. So effectively, on both sides of this, you have very passionate Nintendo fans that are reacting in two extremely opposite ways towards this new generation for Nintendo. This price gouging
literally just
post
brought up the same
Iwata and
point I
Reggie
did.
version of them. The issue is with this emotional attachment, if you cannot remove the logic behind your decisions and the way you view the company, what ends up happening is a lot of that bond that you had with Nintendo as you were growing up is no longer going to be applicable to the upcoming generations.
So, all right, Nintendeen. What did he just say? I can't even, I just spaced out. So you're saying you're passionate about Nintendo, right? Um, just like I am, right? And you grew up with Nintendo and you love Nintendo and you're playing it like a greedy cash grab on your channel. Um, what did he just say? Sorry about that.
Behind your decisions and the way you view the company.
Okay, I think I remember. So, the logic is that uh, I like Nintendo, and the that's not logical, obviously. But the logic, this is the logic, okay? The logic is I don't support corporate Nintendo. I don't support the Nintendo that makes bullshit like this. I don't support the Nintendo that pumps out greedy cash grabs. Pokemon Company is the worst side of Nintendo. That is the I do not like Pokemon, just not even at all, just because of how greedy they are. But that's not main Nintendo. That's second party. Legal Nintendo. That's not the games development side of Nintendo. That's that's the legal department. The legal department that's sending these lawsuits. Of course, like Nintendo has control over the legal department. They can be like, "Oh, don't send that lawsuit." But the legal department is it's just anyway. He's not even talking about that. He's talking about prices, and he's talking about um again, like I don't support the prices. Like, and he brought that up. Like most of us don't. But I'm not defending uh I'm not defending corporate Nintendo. I'm defending this Nintendo. Okay? So, and when you say do not buy this game, you're just saying that because you're not going to buy it because you're engaging in a fruitless protest that's already failed. And you're a minority. I'm sorry to say that, Dean, but you're not the majority. The majority of the Nintendo fandom, aka all the Redditors, is if that's what you're talking about.
Company, what ends up happening is
If I didn't acknowledge the point, I'm sorry. I kind of got sidetracked.
a lot of that bond that you had with Nintendo as you were growing up is no longer going to be applicable to the upcoming generations. Nintendo, by nature of being the budget brand, and really in general by being part of the gaming industry for as long as it has been a source for generations of people at this point, many of which could not afford to spend on more expensive luxuries in life.
Well, this is a great point, and I actually think I agree with this. So, when Nintendo was when this console came out, um, I don't have a Wii U with me, but it's the same thing. Uh, and the 3DS too. The 3DS was expensive, and the 3DS almost failed because it was way, way, way too expensive. I have no idea how much this was at retail. But the 3DS almost failed. But you know what Nintendo did? Nintendo swooped in. This is probably one of the most greatest things, and I bet Nintendeen will agree with me. They swooped in and they changed the price and they made it lower. And obviously, I don't think that's going to happen with the Switch 2, just because the Switch 2 is already a great success. They've already sold 10 million. That doesn't mean they've sold 10 million to customers, but that's 10 million to the stores. So 10 million stores have bought consoles, and it already means the Switch 2 is a success. Doesn't mean the Switch 2 is going to continue selling, but they've already sold 10 million. And unless the sales drop, unless the sales expectations drop under that, and next year is only 10 million and one, then we'll start to see what happens with this thing. So during the latter half of the GameCube, uh, you could go to Target, pick one of these bad boys up for $50, and that's one of the greatest Nintendo deals ever. Of course, that's not Nintendo making those prices; that's Target. But the DS, the 2DS, that shit was $80, the same price as Mario Kart World, and $10 more than this. That's bonkers. Just think about that. And the fact that this game's the same price as an entire console, and that was only what, 12 years ago? The same price as this is just dystopian. And again, I'm not defending prices. I hate the price of this game. I only bought it because I don't own this game yet. So, like, this is a horrible price. $80 for this. Like, of course the DLC, but are you kidding me? Um, but like, if you want to Switch 2, it's not going to go down in price. I'm sorry, Nintendeen. It's going to go up. It's going to go up, not because Nintendo wants to raise the prices, but because RAM prices are going to go up. And it's not going to be another 10. It's not going to be. It's not going to be another 5, 7 years until the Switch 2 goes on sale. So I think if you want one, Nintendeen, buy one now.
Through the affordability of Nintendo's gaming in comparison to the competition around it, bonds and friendships and attachments have been created for a few decades at this point.
So that's just not true at all. I don't think Nintendo fans are Nintendo fans because it was affordable. I think Nintendo fans are Nintendo fans because it was family friendly. And their parents saw Nintendo as a safe option. As a Mormon, that's how I saw it. She would buy me games like this because I was Mormon, and this is a very safe option for a kid. A lot safer than I don't even have any rated M games. I'm such a Nintendo fuck. But much safer than I don't know this. Here's a rated game. Much safer than this. If you were to buy your kid this, I would probably question your morality. But yeah, definitely much more safe buying your kid this over this. That's why. It's not because it was affordable. It might have been a reason. It might have been a reason. It might have been a factor. But I don't think that's the reason. I think it's because your parents were probably being a little bit were trying to shelter you, and they got you Mario 64 DS instead of Borderlands. Anyway.
And to see such a drastic step from one generation to the next, going from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2, it almost feels like it's burning away that amazing legacy that set Nintendo up to what it is today. There's
Legacy, bro. What fucking legacy? You talking about the Wii U? Are you talking about the Wii U? Are you talking about the GameCube? The great legacy of the GameCube. I mean, sure, it has a great legacy, but the sales, I mean, holy shit. The Wii U, the great legacy of the Wii U. Like, oh my gosh, the Wii U was so goddamn affordable. It definitely was. Like, um, let's search up because I'll probably get my shit fucking kicked in if I don't search this stuff. Wii U launch price. $2.99. That's not bad. But a Wii with an HDMI port on it. Um, I don't even know what to say, Nintendo. Um, wait. And that's not even adjusted for inflation, by the way. $300 in 2012 worth today. Oh, you're about to eat your words, Nintendeen. 425. That's like the same price as the fucking Wii U. Let's see. Let's do an actual inflation calculator because I hope this doesn't bite me in the ass. Yeah, this is the calculator. So 425. That's like the same price as the Switch 2. So, and then let's see. This is the price of the games, I think. That's Wii. $70. The prices haven't changed in 10D. The the economy has. Which way is this fucking supposed to go? But really? Affordability? You're a dumbass.
This is why so many people look at the current Nintendo model and they say that the company is soulless. Because back in the day, we felt there was a soul and there was a passion that was put into the games that we played.
Let me make more of a point than just showing Dr. Gun Bonanza. This is soulless? This is soulless. This is soulless. Okay, fucking you're a dickhead.
And was also reflected to an extent in the way that the company treated their customers as gamers. They weren't perfect, don't get me wrong, but they were much better than what they are now.
That's a lie. No, that's just straight up a lie. No, it's just not true. I don't believe that at all. Where are you getting that? Show articles, show a quote from Miyamoto saying being being pro-consumer in 2012. Just show me, because that's just not true at all. Nintendo, they were never good. They've always been like this, and it's never changed.
But those that are so blinded by the implications of the criticisms of Nintendo, I don't think they view it from that angle, and I think they look at the console in a much more selfish manner. And that kind of leads on to one of the other points that I've seen come up the most in most of my comments. Why is Nintendo getting so much hate and criticism for this, whereas Sony and Xbox and the rest of the gaming industry is not?
And he brought it up, right? Nintendo tribalism. When a Nintendo fan looks at one of these controllers, depending on what you feel, if you look at this and shit and look and think, ew, that shit's fucking gross, then you're probably pretty normal. But if you look at Nintendo and if you look at a controller like this and you feel nostalgia, then you're part of the tribe, my guy. You're inducted into the cult. And that's why I think, you know, me calling Moist Critical not a Nintendo fan is a little bit misjudged because he had one of these. He loved the N64, but like anyway.
And I think that
I don't even know how I brought that up. I just didn't even make a point. Let me see. Uh,
Nintendo getting so much hate and criticism for this, whereas Sony and Xbox and the rest of the gaming industry is not. And I think that question can be answered in two parts. First off, Xbox, more so than Sony, already got this over a decade ago. The Nintendo Switch 2 right now is not really that different to what the Xbox One was, and that's why there was such a big backlash that was aimed towards them.
it's not really different to what the fucking 3DS was, but they did change their minds. The issue with the 3DS though is nobody was buying them. people are trying to switch to, unfortunately.
As a matter of fact, in a lot of ways, all of the anti-customer things that we're seeing from Sony and from Xbox right now, part of the reason I'm so concerned about the direction that Nintendo's taking with the Nintendo Switch 2 is that within a generation or two, what we're seeing over there and what most Nintendo fans are critical of from those companies, it seems clearly that Nintendo is going in that direction because they want to follow their successful business model. So naturally myself, as well as everybody else that's very critical of Nintendo with this Switch 2, we're pushing back against the new console because we've spent so many years not wanting Nintendo to just become Sony or become Xbox.
Great fucking point, Nintendee, and I actually fully support that shit. Not the fact that you're not buying a Switch 2, I don't support that at all. But the fact that you acknowledge that this company is shameless as shit. Okay, if you own an Xbox, if you own a PlayStation 5, you have no goddamn room to talk. Because you think this is it? You think this is pro-consumer? You think this is pro-consumer? Okay, this console was a pro-consumer, but you think the PS5 is pro-consumer? I would accept an argument to say yes. But the PS5 Pro? The PS5 Pro is pro-consumer. The pro-consumer console. No. And that's a great point, Nintendo. And I agree with you. But not buying the Switch 2, it's like, again, the console war bullshit is stupid, but you're helping Sony win, dude. You're helping this fucking company, the company that made no games this year. The company that this year, the company that like made no games at all last year. Uh, that's a vote for Sony. That's a vote for Xbox because they hate Nintendo too, just like you do, Nintendo. And you can't anyway.
Xbox. There are pros and cons to every platform and different strokes for different folks and all that stuff, but there are certain vibes and cultural elements, we'll call them, for each one of the fan bases. And Nintendo always has had their own specific niches. The physical game copies is a big one of them. Once upon a time, it was very important that the entire game was released fully on the same cartridge without future DLC and all that stuff. Like, you could just get the game and enjoy it.
I actually agree with that too. The fact that when I bought this game at launch and I put it into my console and I was prompted for an update pissed me the hell off. It just is what it is, man. It's modern gaming, but at least the game is on the cartridge. At least, like, when I buy the game and put it in my console, and if I wasn't connected to the internet, I could play this game. I don't support game keycards, by the way. That shit's bullshit. But Nintendo is not the one making game keycards, because if you look at all the games they've made, and none of them are on game keycards. Like even the Pokemon fucking Ditto game, that's not even Nintendo. That's second party, third party almost.
You never had to worry about them increasing the price dramatically and being like, oh, the only thing you're getting here is a slight visual bump. These were all aspects of Nintendo consoles that have been very successful and very much enjoyed by the Nintendo.
So, let's see. I don't think it's priced $50. I think it was 60 in 2012, or maybe let's do 2013. I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure Wii U games were $60 in 2013. So let's look at that. You're eating your fucking words, Nintendo. $60 in today's money is $80. So not that I support $80 games, that's ass. But like you're eating your own goddamn words, dude. Like uh it's not really a huge price bump. It's a huge price bump from this because they kept the price low because they knew people would complain. This is only $10 more, bro. That's what, like a McDonald's cheeseburger in this economy. Are you kidding me, Dean? This is your breaking point? $10 more?
masses. And obviously the list goes on and on and on. But the issue is when the Switch 2 White Knights are seeing all of these criticisms and they're being like, well, if Sony can get away with it, why is Nintendo getting all the flack for it? Again, this all comes down to a sense of attachment towards the console, towards the company, towards their memories, and the love and passion they have for the games. They would love to stand up for things that they clearly believe are wrong or at least are not good for the gaming industry as a whole, but they don't want it to happen at the cost of the company that they love the most. I think we can all pretty much agree that Nintendo's not going to get bankrupt, right? I think
True, but the year that they put this game out, I definitely thought they were going to. This game made me think that Nintendo was going to go bankrupt. This piece of shit failure, and that's because um 2016 was a rough fucking year, and when they were selling games for $60 in 2016 and nobody was buying them, uh, that's obviously why these games were still 60. Because that was the standard. If they were 70, that would be absurd. In 2017, that would have been absurd. That's probably not the reason, but like Color Splash released at a time when people just and the same thing with the same thing with Star Fox Zero. When this game came out, people were fucking depressed, bro. They were like, "This is what we get this year. This is what we fucking get this year. This game's okay. This is what we fucking get." Like, oh my god, like you really talk about 2016 like it's so great. This this is what came out in 2016, my guy. Like, it wasn't greedy, but it was.
most of us can pretty much agree that Nintendo has the capability to make very enjoyable games. And outside of a few hiccups here and there, they'll continue to release that kind of good quality. So I don't think we're in a position where we need to support Nintendo in order to make sure that they make better games. In fact,
No, no, obviously not. That's a stupid idea. I brought it up. Obviously, I was like, if you don't buy a Nintendo console, you're gonna force them to go bankrupt. That's dumb. Okay, I think I've said that before, but that's only in the standpoint that if everybody buys a Switch 2 and Nintendo just turns a blind eye to modding, and then everybody just mods their games in, they would go bankrupt because they're losing money on the Switch 2, and they would be making no money on games. So yeah, I think that's why they're so hard against modding, is because modding enables stealing games, and if you mod your console, it's basically like saying "fuck you, Nintendo. I want my games for free." That's how it is to them. Every console before Wii U generation and before I've modded before, so I fully support modding as long as it's not like released within the last 5 years. Um, so
in fact, history has shown the opposite, that if you don't support Nintendo, you get a better output and a better quality product. And of course,
better quality product to by the way. This is a good product. According to Nintendeen, uh, this was a good game. According to Nintendeen, this was an amazing fucking masterpiece.
most importantly, for a much better price. So it's not like the White Knights are supporting Nintendo's anti-customer practices because they're like, oh, if I don't do this, we might not get another good title from them. So it tells me that part of the reason they're ignoring all of this stuff and the reason they don't want it on Nintendo's neck is in part because they've been dealing with a fanboy tribal war for so many years now. Console warring has never really stopped. Actually, some of the most passionate Nintendo fans spent the better part of the last 5 years talking about how the PlayStation 5 cannot live up to the success of the PS4. Even until now, there are threads and discussions coming up about how the active PlayStation 4 user base is still so large and so strong because Sony is failing at incentivizing people to move on from the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 5. And these are the same people that believe that Sony
I'll be right back. Okay, so mostly my opinion of the PS4 is pretty positive, but this specific one is hunk of garbage. Um, So I've had problems with the PS4, not because of the games. The games are amazing, but um, when I plugged this thing in, because this might be just GameStop's fault, because this was used, but when I plugged this thing in, it didn't even fucking the HDMI cord was bunko, dude, and yeah, I had to put a little train track underneath the HDMI cord to prop it up, so that so that it would actually fucking connect to the TV. I got this shit for free, by the way, so like I get what I paid for, but like apparently this is a very common problem for the PS4, and yeah, I just fucking hate PS4 now just because of my experience with this, just because of that bad experience. I'm sure if I bought a PS4 now, like I'd be fine. I'd probably have a perfectly great experience with it, but this thing is horrendous, bro. I think my microphone's backwards. Let me just yeah, it's definitely backwards. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be this way. Okay. This console, the games that came out, this console generation was peak. Everything that came out for the PS4 was peak, but it had a high failure rate. It was like the Xbox 360. This shit, the fucking HDMI port. I don't know if you can see how bad the damage it is, but it barely fucking works, dude. And uh, and that's why if I'm gonna play a modern AAA game, I'm going with Xbox One, because yeah, PS4 is that PS4 is basically trash.
Intentionally did shortages during the pandemic and milked that launch with artificial scarcity for as long as they have. And they're the same people that were arguing about the shipped versus sold numbers for the PlayStation 5. And they're the same people that argued against all of the games not being on the discs, arguing against Sony starting to charge $10 for upgrading some of their games from the PS4 version to the PS5 version, etc. But the thing is, for them, Sony did.
I don't think that was the same people, my guy. Like, I'm not one of those console war types, so I didn't hear about any of that. Because I didn't have a PS5. I still don't have a PS5. I don't have a Series X either. Um, and when it was time to get a new console, I chose Nintendo because I trust Nintendo. Just like my parents trust HP for some reason, or just like my parents trust Samsung or whatever. It's a trust thing, I guess. It's like you trust Nintendo that they're gonna make a good product no matter how much it is. That's why I bought a Switch too. Not because not because I'm part of some cult, which I definitely am, but because Nintendo is you can guarantee, not all the time. You can't guarantee all the time, but you can guarantee that at some point you're gonna get a good game. At some point, like like you can guarantee on all the consoles they've made. At some point you're gonna get a masterpiece. At some point you're gonna get an amazing experience. At some point, at some point, at some point, they're gonna release that game for that console. That's just gonna be the most amazing thing, the most amazing, the most special piece of gaming ever released. The most special, the most special part of gaming ever released. And that's why people defend Nintendo. It's not because of some tribal. It's because of games like this. 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 Or this. It's because of games. Okay, maybe not their money to Nintendo, but because of shit like this is why people love Nintendo so much. Because I don't know, man. It's just different. It's different than Sony. It's different than Xbox. Like I don't know.
Did all of these things that they don't like for the gaming industry, but it succeeded. And now in their minds, they're like, well, I guess if it worked for Sony, now it's Nintendo's turn to succeed. Because in their minds, as Nintendo fans, I think they deep down believe it's a reflection on their product being inferior if it can't succeed on the same level playing field with the PlayStation 5. So for example, if the PlayStation 5 and the Nintendo Switch 2 are the same price and they're all doing the same anti-consumer crap that we're seeing in the gaming industry, in their minds, Nintendo not being able to get away with it implies that PlayStation is a better console, which they would never be able to admit, and they wouldn't be able to sleep at night if they had to say that out loud.
PlayStation's a better console.
Now, to make something very clear, I don't think
just outright, the PS4 is better than the Switch One. I think in terms of games, the Switch One's amazing. By the way, I love the Switch One, but in terms of games, like holy fuck, the PS4 has a good library. I'm never playing a PS4, by the way, ever again. But yeah,
I think the PlayStation 5 is a better console than a Nintendo Switch 2. I actually think comparing them
nope. PS4 is better than Switch One. PS5 is not better than Switch Two. Already, Nintendo has released two amazing games. This one's non-exclusive, so I guess that's so. Let's see. Donkey Kong Bonanza, Mario Kart World. I guess Metroid Prime 4. That doesn't count because it's not exclusive. Uh, ZA, that's an exclusive. Not to Switch 2. It's Nintendo exclusive. Four games, four whole fucking games. That is more than what PS5 has. That is way more than what PS5 has. Over 6 years, four games. Like this is more games than the PS5 has gotten in 6 years. So like, are you kidding me, Nintendo?
is kind of stupid. But what I do know for certain is
PS4 might be better than Switch 2 or Switch 2. PS4 might be better than Switch 2. PS4 might be better than Switch 1. It's not better. It's absolutely. Oh my god. That's absolutely not better than the Switch 2. The PS5.
when something is stronger and it's a more advanced piece of hardware, it's worth more money than the product that is inferior.
Absolutely, and that's a great point, Nintendeen. The Switch 2 should not be priced higher than the PS5 in any capacity. But that's not because the PS5 is priced well. It's because the PS5's been out for 6 years, and the Switch 2 just came out. They would not be discounting the PS5 if the Switch 2 wasn't out. Like they're doing it to get Nintendo back for the Sony PlayStation or the Nintendo PlayStation, I guess. But no, the PS5 is absolutely not a great console. In fact, it's not even good. It's not better than the Switch 2. It's a great piece of hardware. It's a great piece of hardware. It's not a great game library though. Like Nintendo, name more than like 10 PS5 exclusives, and you literally can't because you go on the Wikipedia page, it's like less than that.
Without a doubt, I say a PlayStation 5 should cost more than a Nintendo Switch 2, but that doesn't mean that I think the PlayStation 5 is a better console than the Nintendo Switch 2.
You just fucking said it was. What?
Now, in saying that, I don't own neither a PlayStation 5 or a Nintendo Switch 2, so I'm
I swear I saw you playing Astro. Oh wait, no, that was Arlo. Sorry, I mean Arlo. I mean Nintendo. That was Arlo playing a PS5.
kind of being a little bit hypothetical here. But I owned an Xbox Series X while I owned a Nintendo Switch. I own them both right now still. I say this without a shadow of a doubt. The Nintendo Switch is a better console than the Xbox Series X based off of my own subjective opinion. But if you told me to buy that Nintendo Switch that I bought for $500 instead of the $300, I would have laughed you off. As a matter of fact, if that Switch came out for $350 or $400, I would have laughed you off. But an Xbox Series X giving the
Let's actually test this because the reason why the Switch one's still cheap is because it came out in 2016 or 2017. So again, I think that's literally the base price of the Switch 2. So you're eating your words, Nintendo. Like, of course, inflation calculators aren't always accurate, so it's not very fair to just type some fucking numbers in an inflation calculator. But are you kidding me? Are you are you serious? You didn't do some like very basic research? Like, let's see, Xbox Series X launch price. November, no, launch price. $499. That's absurd, but that's it. I definitely don't think it's that much now. But so you bought a Series X for $500, which in today's money is $625. Okay, but that's 2020. That's like almost post or pre-COVID. So let's say almost $600 is practically what you paid for that Xbox Series X. And you're saying that this is a better value than the Switch 2.
hardware and the tech behind it, Absolutely, it's worth the $500 that I spent, and I would be ridiculous if I assumed that the Switch and the Xbox should be the same value. Now, the Series X is newer than the Switch, whereas the PS5 is older than the Switch too, but the same discussion could be had if I was comparing the PlayStation 4 with the Switch 1, for example. It's outdated tech versus new tech. I like the Nintendo stuff more because the quality and the types of games, I prefer those always. But objectively, the tech behind it should not be more expensive than what's more advanced just because
Came out 6 years ago, dude. If a console's out for 6 years, of course it's gonna be not expensive as the new shit. Like, of course it's not as powerful as the PS5. Duh. Like, it doesn't take a genius to figure that shit out. But the Switch 2 just came out. The PS5 came out in 2020 for probably the same price as the Series X. So, again, yeah, it's the same exact fucking price. So, you're practically, you would have been paying $600 practically. In 2020, if you bought one the launch year, you'd be practically paying $600.
Mario makes a cool noise that makes me happy when he jumps. And to me, it's very clear that the Nintendo White Knights have a hard time grasping this. Because in their minds, they believe the quality put behind Nintendo games is so superior that it is worth spending more money on these things. And the issue is now you're using subjectivity to justify anti-customer practices.
See, I actually don't subscribe to the argument. It's not, again, I think I probably said something similar like earlier in the video, but it's not because Nintendo's quality is better, even though that's definitely like a factor. Like, Nintendo definitely makes higher quality games than Sony because Sony doesn't make shit. Xbox does not make shit. But like, again, Xbox does not make fucking games. They distribute games. Sony does not make games. They distribute games. Nintendo makes games. Okay, but again, it's not because Nintendo makes games. It's because um, Nintendo Switch 2 literally just came out, and RAM prices and shit have just gone up, and it's only expensive because all of these factors and inflation. And I'm sure the fucking dummies at Nintendo were like, oh well, the $60 in 2026, 2025, that would be $78. So that's probably a great price for our games. Like, that's not a great way to determine how much something should be now, but it's definitely a pretty great tool to determine how much something estimated to be now. Um, because are you kidding me? Like, you, what did he even say? He said,
And the issue is now you're using subjectivity to justify anti-customer practices.
like, raising the price $10 because inflation.
I agree with it. I agree with the concept that Nintendo games are the best quality. I love Nintendo titles. I've always have. That's all I'm still playing, even right now during my boycott. But I don't love them enough to celebrate when Nintendo charges a higher price so I can say, like, look how good this game is. People are willing to spend $80 on it. Or even $7 for something like Kirby Air Riders and Mario Tennis Aces. The idea here
$7?
is I'm willing
$7. $7. Did he say $7?
price so I can say, like, look how good this game is. People are willing to spend $80 on it. Or even $7 for something like
He said $7. I'm sure he meant 70. $7. Oh wow, that's a really good deal, Nintendo. I'm so glad that Nintendeen, you told me. I'm gonna have to buy Kirby Air Riders. I don't have it yet. You fucking lied to me, dickhead. I didn't even see the price yet. What? $70? What the fuck is wrong with you, Nintendo? You just lied to me. I can't. Obviously, if it's 70, right? That's just funny. But like, again, just $60, 2017 to 2025. That's almost $78. Like, that's all I can say.
like Kirby Air Riders and Mario Tennis Aces. The idea here is I'm willing to put my own passions and my love for Nintendo games aside because I think it's more valuable and more important to us as a gaming industry to stand against high prices and other anti-customer practices.
So unfortunately, Nintendeen, again, your protest has fucking failed. Even though you're standing on a very respectable moral standpoint, it's still a failure. Like, whatever coalition you built, or this hate mob that you built, it's not fucking working, buddy. Like, you're just not big enough. There's nobody big enough. Moist Critical is probably the biggest YouTuber that is anti Nintendo, and not even him will admit the fact that Nintendo's like bad, or not even he will admit that this game is bad. Not even he will say, Nintendo is making horrible products and I do not like them. Not even he will say that because he doesn't think that, and I don't think you think that either. I think you just said Nintendo makes quality products, but literally all it is to you, all it is to you is money, and really. So you're greedy, not Nintendo. You're greedy. If that's your only argument is money, you're greedy as fuck. Like, of course you probably have $500 to spend. I'm sure you do, but is it really just about money? Is it really just about prices? Because inflation, bro. They're losing money on the Switch too. They are losing money on hardware. I assure you that. They are not making money on the Switch 2, the hardware itself. I assure you, the Switch 2 would be $1,000 if it was being charged, or like close to that, like $700, $800, if the price was adjusted to make a profit. But it's $500 because Nintendo knows that that's as low as they can go without like going bankrupt.
Practices. I don't need my Nintendo purchases validated because this console is more successful than that one, or to pat myself on the back because the price of the game that I bought and enjoyed so much and Nintendo made more money on was a lower budget game with higher profits than the immensely massive multi-billion-dollar game that PlayStation released and fewer people bought. Right? That's what the console
What is he even talking about?
back because high price. I think it's in other anti-customer practices. I don't need my Nintendo aside because I think it's more valuable and more important to us as a gaming industry to stand against high prices and other anti-customer practices. I don't need my Nintendo purchases validated because this console is more successful than that one, or to pat myself on the back because the price of the game that I bought and enjoyed so much and Nintendo made more money on was a lower budget game with higher profits than the immensely massive multi-billion-dollar game that PlayStation released and fewer people bought. Right? That's what the console warring effectively comes down to. The Switch 2 White Knights don't want to see Nintendo fail because in their minds they still have this, I guess it's an inferiority complex, or maybe it's a superiority complex because the Switch 1 did better. This idea that their console that they're so tied to will beat out Sony because it's better subjectively.
So
But
maybe it actually is about money because this game was a great deal. But is it all just about money? Because this game was a horrible, greedy crash grab. Just full stop. And you bought it, Nintendo, on launch probably. Like, so you're saying the only issue with Nintendo right now, aside from the fact that they sue ROMsots and they shut down Project M and they shut down that Melee tournament because they're using a modified copy, it's because it's too expensive. And we need to stand up to the greedy oligarchs that are running Nintendo. Uh, okay, Nintendo. Wow, I didn't know you were Wario. Like,
here's the thing, I'm still a fanboy at the end of the day, and I still
so you'll buy this game because it's a good deal, but the fact that it's a horrible, greedy cash grab and everything about it is horrible and greedy. Um, I love this game. I love 3D All Stars, but it's not a good remaster. It's just a convenient play to play these games. That's about it. Like, I almost didn't buy it. I literally bought like the day after it retired. So, um, it,
100% am a much bigger fan of Nintendo games than PlayStation games. But I'll tell you what, when the PlayStation 5 came out and people were spending an arm and a leg to get a hold of that console, not only the $500, but the fact that they were willing to spend double on that console, I actually
I really think Nintendeen is just this conservative about his wallet, like his paycheck. Like, again, he probably has the money, but he's hoarding his wealth so he doesn't have to pay for a Switch 2. Is that really what it's about? Like, obviously, if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're saving money and you have $500, do not buy a Switch 2. Do not buy one if that's all you have. If all you have is $500 and you want one, do not buy one. If you are scared that the Switch 2 is going to go up in price, sure. But um yeah, don't buy a Switch 2 if you're like genuinely struggling. Nintendeen is not struggling. I assure you that. 30K, like again, I did say he's probably making 30 bucks a video. That's a lie. He's making like I have no idea, but definitely more than that. He's living comfortably, I'd say. And the fact that he's not buying a Switch 2 isn't because he's broke. It's because it's a moral dilemma, and he doesn't want to buy one because if he bought one, that would be feeding into the agenda that expensive games and expensive prices are okay. Don't really have a problem with that logic, but here's the thing, Nintendo. Switch 2 is not too expensive. Uh, these games aren't overpriced. This may feel overpriced. This feels horrible. Like buying this, I felt like a piece of shit buying this because 80 bucks is it's just absurd. You shouldn't like Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart World shouldn't be $80. It's not worth $80. It's not worth yeah, it's because this is I guess this counts because this is a $60 game plus $20 DLC. So I guess this is worth $80 because the DLC is worth 20. But Mario Kart 8 is or Mario Kart World is not it doesn't have any DLC. It's just a game. It's literally just the game. So I guess on that standpoint, and Nintendo, I agree with you, but it's just it doesn't hold up because it's not true. Like I already showed you this. Like it may feel expensive as shit to be paying $80 for a game, but it just is what it is. Inflation exists, and sure, I'm sure he has some retorts against the argument for inflation. And I'm sure he's made a video about it. He probably has a whole video about it, like saying how inflation is not an excuse. But why? Why is it not an excuse? Is it just because like these games were $60? Is it because this game was $60? Is that why? Is that why you're so vehemently against it? Because Nintendo was giving you a smacking good ass deal on this game. So now when they're charging like the price a game should be, now it feels like shit. Even though it's just not justified. It can't be.
kind of laughed at that. I thought it was absolutely so ridiculous that they would go out of their way to spend that much money on a PlayStation 5 just so they can have something nicer to play Call of Duty and Fortnite and Madden on. It felt
Holy fuck, Nintendo. You're literally waking up, bro. I don't think he's in support of Sony. And if you have a PS5, you're a chud. It's like, not because like it's a horrible console or anything. It's just like unless you were playing like what Final Fantasy 7 or actually good games, like you're a chud, dude. You're playing Madden and fucking Forza on your PS5. Like, really? You're not gonna play fucking Jack and Daxter or whatever, or like I don't even think there is a Jack and Daxter on or on PS5. You're not gonna play Little Big Planet 4 or whatever. What is it called? Sackboy's Big Adventure. You're not gonna play Sackboy's Big Adventure. You're gonna play fucking Fortnite. Are you fucking kidding me?
very much like mindless spending. And like I should caveat this by saying, number one, if that's all you enjoy on your console, I'm happy for you. If you just bought a PlayStation 5 just so you can play those games on a higher resolution, that's good. Like I'm glad people
Great. But also, no, I'm not happy for you. Buy a PS4. It's $100. So you're wasting money. Like Fortnite runs amazing on PS4, dude. Just get a PS4. I know I just said I'm never playing a PS4 again because this piece of shit failed me. But like, as long as you get a working one, like, get an Xbox One, dude. Like, that's $30, and you can play Fortnite for free on that shit, and it doesn't cost you a penny. So $30 versus like 600 for an Xbox Series. Like, you're stupid, dude. Just get an Xbox One.
People are spending money on what they're happy on. Even with the Switch too. I've always said it. If you enjoy it, I'm happy for you. And likewise, I
No, you're not, Nintendeen. No, you're fucking not.
realize that there are a lot of PlayStation fans that have a more sophisticated taste, should
You're angry for me because I like the Switch too, bro.
we say, with their console. But speaking specifically about how I felt a few years ago, that's definitely what I saw. I saw blind consumers and people that were just going out there, dropping $500, up to $1,000 even, to scalpers, grabbing a console and playing the exact same games they were playing on their PlayStation 4 on this new PlayStation 5. And I just felt like it was like dumb, for lack of a better term. And for me, there's actually a sense of pride in the backlash against Nintendo going into the Switch 2. Or at least
Honestly, buying a Switch 2 for Fortnite actually isn't that bad of idea, especially if you're playing Fortnite on a Switch 1, because Fortnite on the Switch 1 was, oh my god. Oh my god. Fortnite on the Switch 1 was unfucking playable. And if you bought a Switch 2 literally just for Fortnite, uh, not a PS5, that is valid as shit, because the Switch 2 Fortnite is amazing. I've been playing so much Fortnite on the Switch 2. It is so good on Switch 2.
least there, I thought there was a sense of pride, but it's kind of up in the air right now with this whole civil war going on with the Nintendo fandom, where you got the white knights who are like, Nintendo can do no wrong, we gotta give them as much money as possible, even if they're
Again, I'm not a white knight like Nintendo absolutely can do wrong.
treating us like crap, whereas the rest of us are like, yo, we want to enjoy these games, we just don't want to get ripped off, amongst other. And
Is that really what it is about? If that's what it's about, like I literally, because up until this point in Nintendeen, I respected the fact you didn't want to buy one. On like a moral standpoint, like you don't support Nintendo suing people, and you don't support Nintendo shutting down Project M and shutting down that Melee tournament and shutting down that Smash tournament. But is it really just about money? Is it really just about money? Because if so, like, you're no better than Nintendo because they're just as greedy as you do.
Anti-consumer BS. But going into the launch and now seeing that the Switch 2 might be having some hiccups, especially in
Like,
the holiday
you're parading around being like, I'm defending the consumer, like I want them to be cheaper so that we can get better deals. That sounds pretty fucking greedy, dude. You want a deal for yourself, not for the fucking dude, Nintendo fans struggling and barely scraping by. No, you want a better deal for your fucking fat self, bro. Not for old Timmy over there, because old Timmy lives in Venezuela and it would be $1,000 anyway. So it doesn't even matter if your fat American ass got a good deal on the Switch 2, because no matter what, like, the Switch 2 would be out of the price range of somebody living in a foreign country. Like, us Americans are privileged as shit, and we can afford a $500 console. Okay, we have a smacking fucking amazing deal here compared to like some of these sorry if that's offensive, backwater countries that can barely afford to trade import goods.
season, I took it more as a sign of a faith in the Nintendo fandom. I'm glad there is a huge backlash. I'm glad there are so many people that are like, yo, like, Nintendo should not be doing this. This never would have happened with the Reggie Iwata era. Because
Nope, a lot of what that happened. No, I like dead ass. Maybe not. I don't know, but dead ass. I think Awada didn't stop Nintendo from suing people. And that's something that that I continue to bring up, is the fact that Iwata did not step in when they sued Cool ROMs. Iwata did not step in when they sued or when they took down Project M. I don't even know if Iwata was alive for when they took Project M. But let's see, when did Project M get shut down? He was barely dead. He was just barely dead. So literally like 6 months later, Nintendo was like, "No, Iwata's dead. Let's sue. Let's fucking take down Project M." No, but again, there was other things that happened while Reggie was still present. But I was so fucking salty about it. That was when I started to think my Nintendeen. Back when I was like a 10-year-old, I'm like, fuck, they took down all my fucking ROMs of cool ROMs. I can't believe they fucking did that. But like, I hate this argument, dude. I hate it. Because Iwata and Reggie, they did not stand up for the consumer, not even a little bit. Iwata might have, but Reggie sure fucking didn't. Like, as much as I love those two, they weren't like the gold standard when it came to Nintendo. Like Iwata might have. Iwata was a saint, dude. He's the reason Super Smash Bros. Exists in the first place. But I just don't think it would have made a difference. I really don't. I don't think Iwata would have stood in. I think like if Iwata was alive today, the Switch 2 would still be $500.
Because back then, we were enjoying the Nintendo stuff because it wasn't being exactly like PlayStation. It was different. Sure, there were some sacrifices you had to make. Nintendo's online sucked, but it still sucks. The quality of the hardware wasn't there, but it's still not there. The stuff that has changed is the over obsession.
It's still not there, huh? Okay, well, I'm not gonna try and argue that because it's definitely not as powerful as the PS5, but it's not there. Really?
With DLC and upgrade packs and extra money paid here and there. A huge jump in the price of the console to make it match the PlayStation, which we know is objectively a stronger system. All the while releasing significantly fewer games all throughout, even though the
Six. This is within 6 months, and this isn't even all of them. 6 months, and we already have more games than PlayStation. What? Like, okay, exclude that. Three, one, two, and then Mario Kart World. That's three brand new games plus ZA. That's 4 games. You think that's little? You think that's a little amount of games? Like, sure, in the Switch 1 era, we were getting way more than that. Let's see. I don't have Breath of the Wild with me yet. We got this and Breath of the Wild in the same year. Two timeless masterpieces. This obviously, where did it go? What if I did? This obviously doesn't stand up to this. Or this obviously doesn't stand up to this. This is a much better game. But what? You're saying we're not getting enough games? It's been 6 months, Dean.
the budgets are smaller. This is going to sound very fanboyish, but I always thought Nintendo fans, even though people look at us and think that we're dumb Disney adults, to an extent, I think those of us that are standing against Nintendo and the overwhelming push against Nintendo since the announcement of the Switch 2 is proof otherwise. We don't just accept anything. Or
I mean, I'm sure he doesn't like this game, but like, you're defending an era of Nintendo that made this. I guess this was a year after Iwata died, but like, what?
or rather, I should say, most of us in this online gaming space will not accept anything.
Most of us in this online game, he has to change the wording a little bit because he knows it's bullshit. It's definitely not a majority. You guys are a minority. You guys are absolutely a minority, and that's a fact.
We have high expectations of what Nintendo is bringing to the table, and promising a frame bump and resolution bump, and trying to release the exact same games over again, and trying to take away our ownership, and trying to limit.
What was the Wii U? What was the Wii U if not that? What was the Wii U if not that? A gimmick console? Is that all it was compared to the Wii? Like what the fuck was a 3DS compared to compared to the DS? Those were sequel consoles. What was the Super Nintendo compared to that? What was the Super Nintendo compared to the NES? Exactly that. So you're trying to tell me, Nintendeen, that the GameCube wasn't just a frame rate and a graphical problem. Like this was significant compared to N64. Yeah, like this is way better. This is way more powerful than the N64. Not just a little bit like the Switch 2. But the Switch 2 is more powerful than the Switch 1. We just haven't seen games like this game. As much as I love this game, it's not that graphically impressive. It's really not. But I just think we haven't seen what the Switch 2 can do yet. And that's what Final Fantasy VII is going to show us. That's what the Switch 2, it's going to show us what the Switch can do. And that's what Cyberpunk is showing us. Obviously, it's not good as PS5, but it's better than PS4, and that's a holy freaking moment right there. Like, obviously, like the Wii U was comparable to the PS3, but that wasn't impressive, because the PS3 was last gen. But no, it wasn't. The Wii U came out when the PS3 was still being pushed. Maybe that's why he's I don't know.
limit what's physical and what's digital, and releasing games incomplete to us, and stretching out the release.
Is he talking about like 2022 Nintendo? Because that's that. That's Switch One. That's not Switch Two. This was not an incomplete game when it released.
Between
Unless you're talking about the DK Island, which you shouldn't buy, by the way. That is a scam. Don't buy the DLC. I bought it and I regret it. That was literally my consumerism moment right there when I purchased that, and I just didn't even play it.
between games just so you can maximize how many sales each title can get, and trying to enjoy the most important tool that Nintendo has always had. They always had the best ace up its sleeve in the affordability aspect of it. These are all things that do not meet our expectations from what we accept from the corporation that we're investing our money into for our own pleasure and leisure. So I actually have a major sense of pride that there is such a massive backlash against Nintendo for all of these things. And there's something that
And they're never going to change, unfortunately. They're only going to change based on if the Switch 2 doesn't sell one. And the boycott isn't working. It clearly isn't. The only way Nintendo's not going to... The only way Nintendo's going to change the price on the Switch 2, the base model Switch 2, is if this console stops selling well. And I think that's your goal, right? Nintendo, you want the Switch 2 to not sell well, so that you can profit off of the good deal that you're going to get in about 5 years when that happens. But really, you want to wait 5 years to play the Switch 2. You want to wait 4 or 5 years when the Switch 2 finally goes down in value or goes down in price. Like, why? Just so you can get like a $100 discount? That's greedy. That is greedy. That is greed if I've ever heard it.
genuinely agree with the Switch 2 White Knights on is that Sony, Xbox, and all the other big corporations around the gaming industry should not have gotten away with all of this stuff. But I'm glad that there's a line being drawn at least where we stand. And don't get me wrong, it might amount to nothing, but there's a change regardless of how you want to look at it. They call us a vocal minority, right? I don't think the hardcore Switch 2 fandom has all bought into the Switch 2 and supports Nintendo right now because there aren't enough sales out there yet that would imply that Nintendo was able to capture their entirety of their hardcore audience. But even if hypothetically speaking, we are just a vocal minority, at the end of the day, we are vocal. And we're the ones getting the views and we're the ones getting the clicks.
Again, I have no room to talk because I'm not as big as this, but you're the one getting the views. You're the one getting the fucking views. You're definitely where the fuck is it? That's not what I wanted to pull up. A cotton 4K. That was if you watched yesterday's video. I'm losing. You're the ones getting the views. You're making all the money. You are vocal. You absolutely are. I'm not an M Sizzle Glazer, by the way. I did say earlier that I do not like this motherfucker. I definitely respect Nintendeen more than I respect M Sizzle. But you're not. You're definitely the vocal minority. Like hypothetically, no, factually, like this is the amount of Nintendo fans that want to Switch 2 and are probably going to buy one at some point. And this is the amount of Nintendo fans that are protesting and don't want to Switch 2.
Clicks. We are the ones leading the discussions online. When people search Nintendo, they find negativity.
So let's see. The first Nintendo. Okay. Maybe he is right. But this is still very, very, very low viewership.
Nintendo Switch.
I'm looking for. Okay, here we go. But this is still like nothing.
You and me.
I need to find something with like more than 1 million views. All right, here's Scott the Woz. Scott the Woz is a glazer, by the way. No matter how critical Scott the Woz pretends to be, he loves this greedy shit. How Nintendo like what the fuck is this? What the hell? They didn't even win yet. They won for Switch 1, I think, but not Switch 2. What the fuck? This guy's just straight up wrong. There you are, Nintendeen. Holy fuck. Here's them Swizzle. 13 million views. Of course that's shorts views, so that's like a little bit like less respectable than long form views. But oh my god. Let me try this again, but on incognito tab. Am I gonna get the same results? An epic, incredible Nintendo room just dropped. Nintendo's first 2026 Direct's gonna be huge. What the fuck is that? I'm on incognito by the way, so this is not me. An unexpected Zelda Mac. Like these are glazers. I played 100. Here's M Sizzle again. Here's M Sizzle, the biggest Nintendo glazer on the planet. 1 million views, Nintendo. You are not. You are the vocal minority. I am sorry to say that. It's just true.
They find pushbacks, they find backlashes, they find boycotts.
Like, okay, let's look at Moist Critical. How much views did he get? 2.6. So that's more than M Sizzle. So this is the leading. Man in your charge, and
There are two things.
he barely gives a shit about Nintendo. He barely cares. He's like just on the edge of king, but he just doesn't care. This is the man in charge of your boycott here. And this is probably just because Penguin Zero is just big anyway, not because he's as big as a Nintendo YouTuber. But like, let's see. Here's another Nintendo Glazer. 1.91 million subscribers. Like, that might be just because he got all those from, like, no, but here, 700,000. And this guy is critical of Nintendo. And this is probably somebody that Nintendo fucking hates. But this guy, like, look at this fucking thumbnail. He's like, look at his face. He's like, oh, Nintendo, I can't believe you did this to me. But anyway. This guy's definitely switched up because he didn't want to be left in the dust when it becomes the based Nintendo. But
so whether people want to admit it or not, we have an effect on this. We have an effect on the person Googling if they should buy a Nintendo Switch 2. I'm not going to say
see, it's gonna be the Nintendeen video. Okay, well, I don't want to watch this video. I'm just gonna finish the Nintendeen video, but so obviously this is extremely biased. This is extremely biased. So then this is Wolf Den. This guy's probably, I'm pretty sure this guy's a glazer. Like, he has one. So
that this online discourse in its entirety is the reason that the Switch 2 just had such a terrible holiday season, because I think Nintendo naturally did that to themselves by pricing so many people out of it. But it is absolutely not a
but people still bought a PS5. Why? Because I had this when I grew up. I had a fucking now I gotta buy one for my son. That's the only reason why Sony does that. It's the same as iPhone. Like Nintendo just doesn't have the staying power like Sony does. Nintendo has to make a new gimmick every time, or else it's not interesting enough. It's too fucking boring. Like Nintendo failed this holiday season because I think the consumers lost faith, like Nintendeen, because of bullshit arguments like this, like baseless arguments. Not baseless, but just like they didn't do very much research.
a coincidence that Nintendo having such a terrible holiday season in its launch year happened during a time where there was such a massive push against them. And even if that was only like 5 or 6% because of us, for me, that's still good enough. I take pride in that. Not only in myself, but I take pride in the entirety of the Nintendo.
So you take pride when Nintendo fails because you didn't buy them. That's greedy. How is that not greedy? Like, is it just because, like, oh, you take pride in it because Nintendo is greedy and you want to fight back, and when they lose, you win? How do you win when Nintendo loses? Like, just because eventually at some point your greedy ass is going to get like a cent off on your Switch 2?
Nintendo community that has stood up and pushed back against Nintendo. And I hope we continue to do so. There is zero chance Nintendo is not pivoting somehow to make a better product now to make it more appealing to people. There is zero chance they're not trying to figure out how to get through all of this after the terrible holiday sales and the horrible
Again, Or, not again. But um, I guess I should probably wrap this shit up because it's been like an hour. There's like what, 2 minutes left, 1 minute left. Um, I'll just watch the rest and then I'll just kind of wrap it up and just kind of give my final.
PR online. We may never find out what it is they're doing to get around all this, but the reality is they're going to find a way to make their console more appealing, and it's going to be because of us to an extent. And I am 100% okay with that, even if I never find out what their change is. Because for me, as far as I know, the Switch 2 has been on discount on a worldwide scale through its major holiday and still suffered to move units off of its shelves. The Nintendo fandom was already able to accomplish that. And with how hard it is to even just slightly move a corporation an inch, I think that's already a massive achievement. And I genuinely hope we can continue to push and get something much more tangible out of this. But even if we don't, it will always be worth it to stand up against a corporation. But hey, you guys already know that. I think I've made that very clear. That is all I have for tonight.
Okay. So I'm not gonna say I love Nintendeen because I don't. I hate this fucking stupid asshole. But I do like that there is content like this. I do like that there's people standing up in Nintendo because I don't like everything Nintendo's doing, and I agree with a lot of his points. But the points I don't agree with is the greed part. Like he's saying Nintendo's prices are too much. That's just not true. If you just do some basic fucking research and put like $300, like this is caveman shit. Like it's not a very good argument, but it's tangible. This is tangible. You put it at $300, 2017 compared to 2025. If the Switch One came out now, and it was amazing hardware, and the inflation in 2017 was as bad as it was now, it would have been $400. It would have been just barely cheaper than the Switch 2, and the Switch OLED would be exactly the same price, if not more, than the Switch 2. And that's just because, like, inflation's a bitch, and Nintendo's not. Again, like, it's not like Nintendo's not greedy at all. Like, again, I said this game this very game that he's playing was a greedy ass cash grab. But let's just look at everything that released during Nintendo's failure era, the Wii U, everything that I own, and let's say if it was worth it to get a like for them to not do very well. So we got Super Smash Brothers for a Wii, amazing game. We Fit You, underage. Uh, Wind Waker HD, amazing remaster. Twilight Princess HD, mid remaster. Breath of the Wild, a Switch One game. Paper Mario Color Splash, mid. Star Fox Guard, mid. Uh, 3D World got ported to Switch 2, or got ported to Switch 1, but still worth it. Yoshi's Woolly World, amazing game. And New Super Mario Bros. U, mid. So this, to Nintendeen, this was Nintendo's like great era when they were giving you great deals and amazing games. This era, like again, I love the Wii U era, but it's mostly due to nostalgia. This is not worth it to me. When Nintendo was failing, this just doesn't seem worth it. Like this might be more games than what we got during the Switch One era, but and this isn't all the games that came out. Like obviously Splatoon, I don't own that. I wish I did. We got like Splatoon. I obviously have Mario Maker somewhere, but Mario Maker, that's an amazing game. So those are two that I should probably have. I did have Mario Maker, by the way. I did have it. I got it like for Christmas 2015. But this is this is what Nintendo wants. He wants a bunch of like mid canon fodder and then like three good games versus when Nintendo was successful. Let's see. Let's pull out all the third party shit. So, uh, so this is Nintendo when they're successful. Okay. So, and I think all of these games are amazing. So, Mario Odyssey, masterpiece. Uh, Super Mario Wonder, masterpiece. Pikmin 3, a Wii U game, but still a great remaster masterpiece. Uh, okay. Let's just forget about that one. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, masterpiece. Mario Maker 2, masterpiece. Metroid Prime Remastered, another port, but this is a really good one. So masterpiece. Um, Paper Mario the Origami King, comparable to Color Splash just in terms of quality, but still way better. Um, Mario Party Superstars, masterpiece, better than Mario Party 10. Um, Mario Thousand Year Door remaster. Again, not great because 30 FPS, but still really good. Also a port. Um, so again, another port. And then Breath of the Wild, that was on the Wii U, and then Tears of the Kingdom. So that's what, like a bunch of masterpieces and a bunch of ports, a bunch of remasters versus let's see, three good games in all the Wii U's library. Plus, let's see, Splatoon and Mario Maker. Mario Maker. These are all first party games, by the way. I'm not including third party. So five good games compared to this. And then five good games, like five definitively good games, and then two two pretty decent remasters for the Wii U. And then let's include Breath of the Wild. I have it. It's just upstairs. And did I? Oh, I didn't even. Okay, it's still Mario Kart 8 in there, so that's six. Um, six from the ground up Wii U masterpieces. Then we got, let's see, Mario Maker 2 masterpiece. So that's four plus Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which I guess Breath of the Wild's a Wii U game. So I'm gonna just call that a Wii U game, or I'm gonna call that a Switch One game because most of the people that had it. So that's four, five, six. So literally, when Nintendo's doing poorly versus Nintendo doing well, literally the exact same output, if not more, when you include. Uh, oh, I guess it's include superstars. I guess that's like our collection, and this isn't even including the 3DS. So I guess that's like way more games. But this is literally just console to console. And then all of these remasters, including all the Wii U ports I don't own. So, um, when Nintendo's successful during the Switch era, we get better output. Just marginally better, yeah, but it's really the same. So you're protesting. Your stubbornness to buy a Switch 2 is worthless. It's not making a difference. It's only changing the mind of a minority of people that already have a vendetta against Nintendo, or a minority of people that don't even play Nintendo games in the first place, that are having opinions on Nintendo consoles, even though they've never owned a Switch One. You're not a majority. Like maybe you have the dick and balls of the minority of redditors, but when this shit came out, everybody fucking hated it. This thing was like the worst thing in the world to Nintendo fans. This was like this 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 not this one. This was like the most worthless cash grab Nintendo ever made. Um and then when this came out, I think people liked it, but they were like, "Yo, this is not like as good as Wind Waker." And or as Wind Waker as the Wind Waker remaster, just because I think the Wind Waker remaster just doesn't look as good when compared to. And then this absolute piece of shit that literally canceled the Star Fox franchise just outright. That's the Nintendo that Nintendeen loves. That's the Nintendo. And again, like Switch One, he supports this too. He loves Switch One, but like protesting Nintendo, like when Nintendo does like shit, it's you're not getting like this amazing output. You're not getting everything you ever wanted. It's literally just the same. It's like almost exactly the same output plus a few mega stinkers. So I just don't understand the logic behind I'm not gonna buy one because they're greedy. When has Nintendo not been greedy? When has they have they not? When have they given you a good deal? When the console they were producing was failing? So what your plan is, Nintendo Dean, is for Nintendo your plan is for Nintendo to fail so that you can get a slightly better deal on the Switch 2. Is that it? Is that all you have to say? Because he didn't bring anything up about the whole controversy with the melee tournaments. He didn't bring up any controversy about that guy in Japan that got sued into oblivion, and now he has to fucking pay Nintendo $10 a month or whatever. Um, he didn't bring up any of that shit. He brought up just pricing, and he didn't pin it down like he thought he did. He didn't. He literally just stated the most popular. Again, it's definitely a popular opinion. I'll give you that, but it's not the majority opinion. It's a very vocally loud opinion, and it's a popular opinion. It's not the right one, and it's not the most popular opinion. The most popular opinion is just to not care. The most popular opinion is just to I'm gonna buy my son a Switch 2 because he really wants one. And that's the gist of it. Most people really do not give a shit. They really don't care this much, Nintendeen. And the fact that you mentioned that Nintendo fans are passionate shows the fact that you're inducted into the cult as much as I am. You are a grifter, Nintendeen. You are a grifter because you just care too much. You care way too much. You're you're not nonchalant. You're just like me, bro. You care way too much about this shit. But the only difference between me and you, Dean, is you are a liberally aligned social justice warrior who thinks that standing up to a corporation is going to make change, which it will. It's like I'm not against standing up to corporations. I'm just not against the standing up corporations that literally contribute nothing to society. Like Nintendo is not like forcing kids to fucking mind the copper that goes into the Switch 2. Nintendo's not like whipping slaves out in fucking Uganda. Nintendo doesn't like Nintendo doesn't uh employ slaves. Like it's not like Nestle where if you're standing up to Nestle, like that's definitely something you should do. But with Nintendo, it's just a price. It's just like it's just like Apple, dude. Like I'm not an Apple fan for exactly the same reasons Nintendo Dean is not buying a Nintendo Switch too. But that's only because I just don't like Apple, and that's it. Like I don't own an Apple product, not because um I'm morally against Apple. It's just because I literally just don't own an iPhone, and I've had a Samsung since I was a kid. So that's what I'm loyal to, and that's just it. Like if you're an Apple fan, you're obviously like somebody who just mindlessly spends money on the newest thing. But when I bought a Switch 2, when I wanted a Switch 2, it wasn't because it might have been a reason. Okay, I will admit that consumer consumerism got to me. But I think that maybe it's FOMO. Maybe it is FOMO. But I think that like I can't miss out. I really can't. I don't want to miss out. And you are Nintendo. You are like the Nan's is a masterpiece. And when you say don't buy a Switch 2, you're saying don't have a good time. And when you say don't buy a Switch 2, you're literally just saying like you're saying um don't don't support a company that you've been supporting since you were a kid because I'm so cheap that I won't pay the $500 to buy a Switch 2 because I'm morally against it. Why? Just because I don't, just because of some fucking protest that's not working? Well, at the end of the day, it's worth it to stand up to the Nintendo because standing up to corporations is good. But Nintendo's not a like a evil corporation. They're just greedy, or they just make bad decisions like suing people for the wrong reasons. And that's the Nintendo. Again, I've said this like 3 billion times. I don't support that side of Nintendo, but It's obviously you don't. And when you bought your Switch One, I'm sure you knew about like all the controversies that were going on in 2017. Unless you didn't, unless you literally are this thick, unless you literally are as thick as Moist Critical is when he bought his Switch One, and you just didn't even think to look up what the current controversy was during that time. But Nintendo hasn't gotten worse. They just are bad. Like Nintendo just has been bad since forever. Since the internet has existed, Nintendo has been belligerently taking down fan projects, and they've always been doing that. I've always hated that. I've always hated that, just like you do. But there's a difference between that Nintendo and this Nintendo. There's a difference between corporate Nintendo and games development Nintendo. And sure, if I buy a Switch 2, I'm getting money to both of those sides of the company. But I is this my like lucid moment? Like, oh, I hate Nintendo now. I don't. I don't hate the Switch 2. I definitely regretted it. I definitely had buyer's remorse. Like maybe a month or two after. Like almost unrelated to. It was like some sort of other um confrontation I got in with another person that was like unrelated. But I definitely felt that like buyer's remorse for like the first month. But then month three kicked in, and I was like, yeah, this was sick. This was so sick. I do not regret it at all. Like, who are you to tell me? Like, again, he did say like if you bought a Switch 2 and you're enjoying it, he's happy for you. But I do not believe that. He's only saying that to cover his own ass. But anyway, what's my final remarks? Nintending, you are a grifter. You are just as bad as me. You are way too passionate about this. You care way too much. You need to dial it down. You need to just pivot to something else. Like, if this is your last video on Nintendo Switch 2, let it be your last video because, um, like, your biggest video, your your 500,000 views video is already taken off. So just give up, man. Like I'm not saying give up on your protest, give up on like trying to recruit more people because you're not growing. This protest isn't growing; it's shrinking. Just pivot to something else. Pivot to like Sony content. That would be cool. Sony Dean would be good. I would like Sony Dean just because I want to see Dean be happy. This this dude just is so miserable. Like I know you're passionate, but I'm passionate too, and you're passionate for all the wrong reasons, and I'm passionate for all the wrong reasons in York. So, um, if I bought a Switch 2 and then I sold it, would you be happy, Nintendo? Because I'm not gonna do that, but I'm excited for what's to come. And maybe that's why you haven't bought one, because you're also excited for what's to come, but you're waiting for what's to come. And then when you buy a Switch 2, it'll be the what's to come is already out. But I'm just worried it's gonna go up in price. I'm worried that I was worried that I was gonna miss out on the launch of this. And I was worried because when I got my Wii U, it was a year or two. It was like 2 years after it came out. When I got my Switch One, it was a year after. I didn't want to miss out this time. But now when it's I have the money and I have the uh the adult knowledge to not miss out. People are telling me to miss out, and it pisses me the fuck off. Like, oh my god, just let me enjoy my shit. Why can't I enjoy my shit? And he's anyway, you're a grifter, Nintendo. I don't like anything you've said except for those few little like moments where you're like, oh, we agree on these things, but that's it. And just buy one Nintendo. You're not gonna regret it. I promise you. Like, of course you're gonna look like a fucking asshole, but just do it, dude. Like, you're not gonna. You definitely are gonna eat your words when you buy one, but you're gonna get to play this, and I think you are missing out. You're playing a fucking remaster. You're so goddamn bored. You're playing fucking Mario Sunshine again on which is like the most like greedy remaster ever. That's like the fact that he's playing this remaster is what gets me, dude. The fact that he's playing this game that pissed me for the I was so mad. I was so mad when I saw this game. When this game came out. I was so goddamn. but according to Nintendeen, it's a good deal, so he bought it. That's it. It's all about money with this guy. It's literally only about money. It's not even about the fucking suing controversy. Like he didn't even bring any of that up. It's literally just about money, and I don't understand that. Anyways, that's about it. That's the video.